morning. This is Developing Stories. My name is Remy Allen. 13 political parties are set to compete for the local government elections coming up on Saturday, 18 January in Ondo State. Yet, some residents seem to be ignorant of the exercise. Omorila Ngwiji sampled opinions of elites and political inclined citizens on this and its repercussion in the electoral process. The report.
Few days to local government elections in Ondo State, some residents still seem to be ignorant of the exercise.
No, I'm not aware that there will be an election coming up on Saturday, local government election.
I'm not aware, seriously.
No usual signs of election campaign, especially in Akure, the state capital. Only few posters were sighted and over 90% of them bear the ruling party's logo. Yet, 13 political parties have expressed interest in the election, according to the umpire, Odiek. A renowned media expert, Akinwumi Abodunde, expressed concern over the situation, attributing it to lack of mobilization and awareness by political parties and orientation agencies in the country.
We are not very conscious. We claim to be very educated, but we are not very conscious of the importance of letting the people have a buy-in into governance. So the truth of the matter is that the political parties are not doing enough. The orientation agencies are not doing enough as well. Until these two bodies realize the importance of actually carrying the people along, we cannot have a true democracy and we cannot have true good governance.
To Mr. Adebisi Adeniyi, the indifferent attitude is as a result of how the third tier of government is being treated. He, however, encouraged citizens to come out and exercise their franchise, saying high voter turnout strengthens the legitimacy of elected officials and reduces the chances of election malpractice or manipulation.
I think people are just weary of how the whole thing is going. But at the same time, everybody just has to participate, because if we don't, we are not deepening the democracy. You see, a moment, the federal structure is there, the state structure is there, and the local government is not strengthened. That is why we are having problem.
Also reacting, the former speaker, Ondo State House of Assembly, Kenneth Olawale, is of the view that the landslide wins of Governor Ayedatiwa in the last governorship election no doubt got the opposition scared, while saying the oppositions have already considered defeat even before the exercise. Mr. Olawale posited that local government is the closest tier of government that needs good and competent representatives who can address pressing issues.
It is very important that they show interest. You will see that the incoming election is going to show grassroots election, grassroots competition. It's not going to be a state competition now. It's grassroots. At the respective ward, each councillor will show their capacity. That yes, they are loved by the people.
They stressed the need for citizens to participate in the coming election for grassroots development, accountability, and good representation.
The people does not see the importance of local government election, and it's very, very important, very, very germane, because that is the fulcrum of governing the people. I think you understand. And you can easily go to the local government chairman and ask them for one thing or the other, but you might not have access to the governor. So they have access to the councillor, they have access to the local government chairman, but they might not be able to reach the governor. So that is where the government starts. So it's very important that people must go out and vote.
At least, irrespective of what the outcome is going to be, let them know that you have done your own. It is when one of the saying is that when you do your own and do your voting, whatever the outcome is, at least you'll be on record. Yes, I have done my duty.
Preparations are on top gear by the Ondo State Independent Electoral Commission ahead the Saturday 18th January local government election to be held in all the 203 wards across the state. Omoriola Ngwiji.
Called for mandatory testing and vaccination against hepatitis for every child under the age of 5 in Nigeria. It also directed the Ministry of Health and Social Welfare to ensure that children who test positive for hepatitis receive mandatory treatment. This resolution followed the adoption of a motion sponsored by Kwamoti Lauri, PDP Adamawa, during the plenary session, who expressed concern about the prevalence of the disease in Nigeria, noted that children are especially vulnerable to infection, which can be transmitted from mother to child during childbirth through contact with infected blood, unsafe injections, exposure to sharp instruments, or direct contact between infected and uninfected children, particularly those aged 0 to 5 years. He further noted that hepatitis has remained prevalent despite the adoption of the Nigeria Strategy on Immunization in Primary Healthcare Systems Strengthening Policy, which will run from 2018 to 2028, of which about $3 billion was estimated for the policy. Consequently, the House directed the Ministry of Information and National Orientation and other relevant agencies to create awareness and promote vaccination, and treatment to prevent the spread of viral hepatitis in the country. It also mandated the committee on within 3 weeks for further legislative action. The Federal High Court in Lagos has fixed January 27. The federal government has set a revenue target of 6.58 trillion naira for the Nigeria Customs Service (NCS) for 2025. This emerged same day the National Assembly Joint Committee on Finance jacked up the revenue projections for NCS from the proposed 6.5 trillion naira to 12 trillion naira in the 2025 appropriation bill. The Controller General of Customs, Bashir Adeniyi, at a media briefing to shed light on the service's activities for 2024, said the remarkable achievement represented 90.4% increase compared to 3.21 trillion naira collected in 2023. He described the revenue growth as historic as it marked the highest year-on-year increase recorded by the service in recent times, surpassing the 54.24% growth recorded in 2022 by 38.18%, I beg your pardon. The Customs Board said the new revenue target reflected the government's confidence in customs abilities and capabilities and the expanding scope of its operations. The Nigerian Communications Commission has authorized telecommunications companies to display unstructured supplementary service data codes assigned to 9 financial institutions due to unpaid debts. This directive was made in a public notice signed by NCC's Director of Public Affairs, Ruben Morka. The telecom regulator said affected banks must settle their outstanding obligations by January 27, 2025, or risk losing access to their USSD codes. According to the Commission, these codes, essential for